So we are officially 3 days away from the 2024 NFL Draft. We have an inside story on how the Baltimore Ravens drafted Lamar Jackson that night in 2018 before he'd go on to win 2 NFL MVPs. We also have a very intriguing and telling poll where Baltimore Ravens fans speak about who they want the Ravens to draft. Rashod Bateman trade rumors, draft talk, and much more Baltimore Ravens news. So welcome in to another episode of Ravens Reports. It's your guy Noah here with For the Flock. As always, bringing you guys our top 5 news reports and storylines coming out of our Baltimore Ravens today. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, man. We have the NFL Draft right around the corner. We got the Baltimore Orioles playing some good baseball. Great time to be a Baltimore sports fan. So let's dive in to the content. At number 1, before we dive in to some of the main stuff, let me just remind you the power of the NFL Draft and what a single draft can do for your NFL franchise. We have to illustrate the power of what a draft can do because the Ravens are in a situation similar to 2018 where they have a lot of picks at their disposal. In 2018, the Ravens drafted Lamar Jackson, who would go on to win 2 NFL MVPs, multiple All-Pros, and be one of the star quarterbacks in the league that is changing football. We also have Orlando Brown, who has been a Pro Bowl starting right tackle and left tackle in the NFL the last couple of years, as well as Mark Andrews, an All-Pro tight end, who's been a consistent top 5 tight end in the NFL since he's came into the league. In 2018, the Ravens also picked up Deshaun Elliott, who's been a starting safety when he's healthy, as well as center Bradley Bozeman, who's also been a starter, Zach Sealer, who's been a starting defensive tackle in the NFL. So just a reminder of how one draft can transform your team to kind of set the stage for what we can get excited for in just a couple of days whenever the NFL Draft kicks off. And real quick, these 2 graphics came out from PFF, and Mark Andrews, since 2018, has the 3rd highest career PFF grade among all players in the 2018 draft. Absolutely absurd. And Lamar Jackson has the 6th highest career PFF grade with a 90.6. So to put that in perspective, 256 players were drafted in 2018, and the Ravens have 2 of the top 6 players from that draft. It's absolutely crazy, and that's why the draft is so exciting, because you can completely change your franchise. And at number 3, I wanted to hear your guys' input. If there was these 4 football players on the board whenever the Ravens are on the clock at pick number 30, who would you draft? And we had cornerback Cooper DeJean, offensive guard Graham Barton, wide receiver Xavier WOrthy, and offensive tackle Jordan Morgan. The leading player here is wide receiver Xavier WOrthy, who, by the way, broke the NFL combine 40-yard dash record. Eric DeCosta's reaction was incredible whenever WOrthy ran that 4.22 40-yard dash. Eric DeCosta had a close eye whenever Xavier WOrthy was running that 40. And that brings me to my next point. At number 3, Rashod Bateman trade rumors are heating up. The first-round pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. Rashod Bateman has not necessarily worked out. You know, he hasn't had a season over 600 yards. A lot of that's due to health. Some of it, the connection and timing with Lamar Jackson. But for whatever reason or another, you know, Rashod Bateman has not quite lived up to the expectations that he, the fans, and the front office had for him whenever he was drafted. Now, there's some interesting things here that you can make the case for why it would make sense for the Ravens to trade Bateman. You could also make, you know, a strong case for the Ravens not to trade Bateman. But some of the things that are kind of swing towards the favor of a Rashod Bateman trade is, first of all, Marlon Humphrey posts a picture on social media saying, Rashod Bateman's locker got moved. And we also know that he took a trip to Los Angeles based off of his social media posting. And we know the LA connection with Joe Ortiz, being a part of drafting Rashod Bateman and obviously being high on his talent. And, of course, the Chargers being the new Baltimore Chargers with all the players they've grabbed. Plus, the Chargers have lost Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. But there's also rumors of him going to Denver. I saw something about the Buffalo Bills. Plus, on top of that, Rashod Bateman didn't show up to any of the voluntary workouts, which, a lot of players don't. But you would think that Rashod, going into his 4th year and, being a leader in the wide receiver room, would want to show up to those voluntary workouts, but he didn't. Plus, I really like what Spencer Schultz said on Twitter. The Ravens have traded offensive players who are unhappy pretty handedly in EDC's tenure, which is absolutely true. If that's the case, Bateman wants to be elsewhere. They seem pretty accommodating. Hayden Hurst was moved whenever he was asked for a trade. He went to the Atlanta Falcons for a 2nd-round pick after being a 1st-round pick. That's a similar situation as Bateman. We also know that Orlando Brown Jr. wanted to be a left tackle, was traded to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 1st-round pick. And Marquise Brown, the wide receiver, he went to the Arizona Cardinals for a 1st-round pick. So I don't think Rashod Bateman would garner anywhere near a 1st-round pick. But maybe we send Rashod Bateman and pick number 62 for pick number 37 from the Chargers. Or we send Bateman and a 3rd-round pick for a team's late 2nd or something like that. This is a very deep wide receiver class, and the question is, Rashod Bateman with like 350 yards last year, could you find a receiver in the first 100, picks that could have a similar amount of production, that would be able to be on a rookie contract for the next 4 to 5 years for the Baltimore Ravens? So this is definitely something that the Ravens could look into if any teams are interested in getting a receiver that has some untapped potential in Rashod Bateman. Let me know in the comments if you want to keep Bateman or if you'd like to see the Ravens pick up some draft capital. Maybe, what would it take for you? Would you get rid of Rashod for a 3rd-round pick, a 4th-round pick, 2nd? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And at number 4, there was a very, very intriguing story that came out on the Baltimore Ravens The Lounge podcast where they were interviewing the Baltimore Ravens' new director of personnel, George Kikinis. He revealed that Steve Bisciotti in the 2018 NFL Draft assigned to all scouts and coaches to watch Lamar Jackson's film whenever he was in Louisville. He was coming out for the draft that year. There was a lot of debate about whether or not he should even play quarterback, if he should move to wide receiver because of the electric athlete he is. But Steve Bisciotti had his eyes set on Lamar Jackson, so much so he made all the scouts that would normally be in charge of their region and all the coaches, everyone, go watch Lamar Jackson's tape. And then, Eric DeCosta, Ozzie Newsome, they had their draft board set. And they pick up Hayden Hurst in the 1st round. And apparently everyone's celebrating. Some guys, coaches even walked out of the room. But George, he revealed that Steve Bisciotti was just standing there, sitting there locked in and with his arms crossed, looking over, talking to Eric DeCosta and Ozzie Newsome if there was any way the Ravens could get back into the 1st round to draft their future 2-time NFL MVP quarterback in Lamar Jackson. Obviously, that's exactly what happened. They traded back into the 1st round at pick number 32 with the Philadelphia Eagles to pick up Lamar, and the rest was history. He takes over as the starter that year in 2018 whenever Joe Flacco went down with injury. He would then win 6 out of 7 games and lead the Baltimore Ravens to the playoffs, and he's done that every single year that he's been healthy. Lamar has also helped the Ravens clinch the number 1 seed in the AFC 2 times, in his career. Obviously, that's resulted in the Ravens getting to and hosting an AFC championship. We want it to result in more for the Baltimore Ravens to get to that Super Bowl, which I believe Lamar Jackson's capable of. But regardless, it was very intriguing to hear how passionate and how bad Steve Bisciotti, the owner of the Ravens, wanted Lamar Jackson to be a Baltimore Raven. At number 5, one young football player that actually went undrafted in last year's draft was Keaton Mitchell. Keaton Mitchell signed with the Ravens as an undrafted free agent. His dad was a former Super Bowl winning Baltimore Raven who made some big plays for the Ravens. Keaton Mitchell seems to have a number change to number 2. And let me just tell you, the amount of stress that Derrick Henry and a healthy Keaton Mitchell when he returns from injury, the amount of stress they're going to put on defenses is absolutely absurd. I expect, first of all, for them to help keep each other fresh and to, Derrick Henry just pounding guys, running guys over, the nasty stiff arm, also the speed to break away. And then you got to deal with a change of pace and Keaton Mitchell coming in with some fresh, speedy legs. Like, these guys are going to complement each other so well. We've heard the thunder and lightning comparison, and that's exactly what I think it's going to be. I'm excited for Keaton Mitchell in his second year, and I hope he can come back in the season fully healthy, because the difference he was making on the field last year in this offense was extremely powerful. I mean, defenses had to worry about him taking it the distance truly anytime he touched the ball. He did it several times whenever he took a few carries with the Ravens last season. So I want to know in the comments, how would you feel about the Ravens drafting Xavier WOrthy? If not Worthy, who are some other receivers that you like or you don't like? We're going to do one more live mock draft session with you guys before the draft. So we're going to schedule a live stream. Make sure you guys keep your eyes out for that. And we're just going to have some chat interaction, do a ton of mock drafts, talk draft before the real deal kicks off in just a few days on Thursday night. As always, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to leave the video a like. It really helps out the channel, and I would truly appreciate it. Don't forget to have your subscribe and notification bell on so we can keep you up to date on all of your Baltimore Ravens news and content. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.
When he wasn't looking, he ran me over.